So chapter 6 is about dhyan. Dhyan is meditation. And I thought it would be good to not just talk about what Gita is saying about dhyan, but talk about meditation in general and the role of meditation and the role of preparation in doing, in Vedanta. Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
So first of all, you guys tell me, what do you all think of when you think of meditation? What comes to your mind? Because everybody has slightly different ideas about it. It's a very big field, vast umbrella.
I try to pay attention to the breathing, and then you worry about the thoughts in and out.
Okay. So meditation is, for you, it's observing your thoughts. I mean, breathing properly,
Breathing.
and observing thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neeta, what about you? Same thing?
Staying still and
Thanks, you.
kind of turning inwards, or I guess, which is probably the same as observing.
That's what he's saying.
Just let the thoughts drift. Don't pay kind of any attention to it.
But do you meditate regularly? I mean, like often rather?
We do it through yoga. When the
Little
yoga,
bit, very little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
But not like 10, 15, 20 minutes worth, but
Few minutes.
few minutes.
Okay.
Mm.
What about you, Kiki, Billu? Kiki was
Yes, for me
meditation.
also, it's
Yeah.
basically concentrating on the breath and trying to not think about anything, not to let the thoughts come in.
Okay. But that's not
Just
possible, right? You can't let the thoughts not
feeling
come in.
that, trying to
Right.
not get the thoughts come and just trying to concentrate on the breath going into every part of the body.
Right, right. That's good. And Kiki, you?
You're muted, Kiki.
Oh. Kiki, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, very similar to what Tony Pia said, I think. Just I don't meditate very much, but when I do, it's just sort of making some space from the thoughts versus me just observing thoughts.
Okay. So, I mean, generally speaking, though, I mean, if you think about it just let's start from scratch. Meditation is also a karma, is an action. Just like we have Karam Yoga. So Karam Yoga is action focused on the external world, on what work we are doing, what our relationships are, how we interact with the world around us. When we are thinking about that and trying to change that in order to change our own mental state, objective is the same. Meditation and Karam Yoga objective is the same, which is to make our inner state better. Karam Yoga does that through interactions with people and your work and so on. Meditation does that through interaction with your thoughts within yourself. But it's work. Just like you expend energy in doing work outside, you expend energy in doing meditation. And just like you need willpower in the beginning, and you need some purpose, and you need intent, and you need a clear reason for doing work outside, you need the same for meditation. There is, really speaking, other than the fact that it's focused on working with your thoughts, it's not the ideas of they're not basically very different. Some people even say work is meditation, and things like that. So meditation is karam. That is the first thing to understand. It requires effort, and you need to have a purpose if you're doing meditation. You need to know what your purpose is, and it requires energy. So in fact, in the Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says, when you're going to do meditation, you have to have proper energy balance. So he says, for example, things like don't eat too much, don't eat too little, don't sleep too much, don't sleep too little. Find a place to sit down and do meditation. That place should not be too soft, not too hard. You shouldn't go to sleep. It shouldn't be so comfortable that you go to sleep. So he gives all these conditions or prerequisites for proper meditation, because meditation is karma, because meditation is actually is work. So that's one part of one thing to understand about meditation. That and in our shastras and everything, it is actually called karma. It's called antaranga karma, matlab inside us. And karam is called bahiranga karma. Bahiranga karma means that which is outside, right? So it's bahiranga sadhana and antaranga sadhana. So it's pretty much and when we say karma, we always talk about it. Manasik karma, meditation, and kaya, I forget the name, but kaya means the physical body. Karma concerning the physical body, okay? So we just needed to understand that. It's not a different category altogether or something else. And the second thing is it's extremely important. In my understanding, meditation is extremely important for spiritual progress. Which is also, some people say it's not and all that, but Gita is very clear, it's very important. And I also feel, based on my experience and understanding, meditation is extremely important. So what is meditation? So other thing to remember is that meditation can be various kinds depending on what stage you are in and what your intent is. So for example, in chapter 6 of the Gita, a lot of the meditation that has been described is what is called Nidhi Dhyasana. That's a form of meditation which is very sort of high level. When you've completely understood yourself and you have no doubts that I am Atma and you know what Atma is and all of that, then to assimilate that, you stay in that thought for long periods of time. That's called Nidhi Dhyasana. So that's just to kind of, because your mind is already thinking about yourself as an individual, then how do you kind of turn it so that it can begin to start seeing and looking at itself from the perspective of what Vedanta is saying? That is called Nidhi Dhyasana. So that requires time in the beginning. It requires some effort in the beginning, but that is a very far stage, right? For that, let's say but that is also you could say it's meditation. Then you have an intermediate stage of meditation, which you would say is about, very some people say Ishwar Upasana. Sometimes people call it Upasana. The purpose of that is to expand your mind because our minds are very narrow because we have lived our particular life in a particular way. We only think like that. Like if someone tells me, for example, oh, bhakti is important, I'd say, no, 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 bhakti, no, 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 because I'm not used to it. I don't understand it. Somebody says something completely different, I will reject it because it is not, my mind is very sort of in a groove. But meditation helps you open your mind up. It asks you to imagine scenarios which are crazy. For example, Ishwar Upasana, which is a very, very popular and famous Upasana in the Upanishads and very important, asks you to think about God as this universe. It says, think about the heavens as the head of the God. Think about the earth as the feet of the God, right? Things like that. Think about God, the rain, as the urine of the God. you know, think of, like it asks you to, and there are many such things. Sometimes it says, imagine that the sun is yourself and that sun is in your eyes. So Divya Jyoti, you have this Jyoti in you. So it is a lot of different things which seem very strange, but they are very important because we have to start opening up our minds to ideas which are not very natural for it. So that's another kind of meditation. And then there is the sort of the beginning meditation, which has to do with how we calm ourselves down. The kind of things that you're talking about. How do we make sure that we are not always so restless? Because this amount of restlessness, we will never be able to make any progress spiritually, right? And in fact, I think that when these things were written, when all these Shrutis and all were done, and Gita was even written, the world was in a different place. Now we are in a very different place. And the amount of sort of deep rooted chronic anxiety which is there around us, including in us. I don't think the writers of Gita sort of took full, gave it full credit. They didn't. They were not seeing it. Not only that, the other thing that we have to remember. Well, first of all, so far so good, because I'll just keep talking otherwise. Do you understand the idea of what meditation is? That
Yeah.
it's work. It has multiple objectives. Depending on where you are, you will choose the meditation that works for you. Correct? Billu?
Yes.
So far so good.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to say was that what is very important for us, I think, is to recognize this chronic anxiety, which is there in all of us. And I'm more and more and more I see around me, I just see it so much rampant now. And Gita and the Upanishad will not give you direct sort of remedies for it. They don't talk about it too much, but they do talk about preparation and the need for preparation, your own preparation. And we need to figure out ways. My feeling is what Vedanta doesn't talk about much is somatic uh, exercises or somatic approach to quietening your mind. Like it does talk about yoga, does talk about it a lot. Yoga talks about breathing, and Buddhism talks a lot about it. Buddhism talks about Vipassana is all somatic. Vipassana is all about scanning your body and trying to see where is there stress in the body, where is there tension in the body, and all that. But Vedanta doesn't, and I think it's a much needed thing. See, I feel like what used to happen was in the past when Vedanta was taught, it was taught in the context of Ved. So it wasn't taught separate from the Veds. It was taught as a end of Ved. So everybody had to first study the Veds. They used to say people used to spend almost 12 years studying the Vedas. And studying the Vedas is not just studying, it's actually living a Vedic life. So what it means is a lot of your mental issues get addressed when that is going on. And only when you are ready, then you're taught Vedanta. And not everybody could just go and study Vedanta. You know, the gurus in the ashrams and all, people used to go study with them. They didn't used to start studying Vedanta. They used to start studying Vedas. जो गुरुकुल में होते थे. Then some people used to graduate into Vedanta study. Those who were ready, those who had kind of done the preparatory work. But
So
what is happening?
what was
Huh?
taught in Vedas? What type of
Vedas are all about Vedas are about rituals that you do, rituals which help you recognize Ishwar.
Hmm.
So, although there are a lot of these rituals, but rituals is not the important thing. The important thing is that rituals always had what the mindset that they built was a mindset that you are one person in an ecology, and that ecology is run by Ishwar. So, the ego was very, um, they used to work on the ego a lot in an indirect way.
Mhm.
They taught you to pray. They taught you to be grateful. They taught you to be humble. They taught you to not take anything for granted. These kinds of lessons were imparted by the rituals of the Veda. So,
Mhm.
like, if you want something, you have to give something. Like, you want rain, you have to give something for that rain. You want children, you have to give something. It's a, it's like that. And to say you are not in control of everything, there is a God who's in control. So you have to acknowledge the fact that God exists. You have to acknowledge, and it's not about God necessarily. It's acknowledging the fact that um, world will go on without you, and it is going on without you because there is God.
Mhm.
So all of these sort of required mental um, capabilities for Vedanta were imparted during the Vedic education. I suppose, I mean, there could always be exceptions, but I'm just talking in general.
Mhm.
And so, so only when, like, like letting go, for example, we have such trouble letting go. Part of our anxiety is because we have trouble letting go. Those kind of things were taught. We were not taught that. We just go into Vedanta having learned physics or chemistry or cooking or whatever, right? So, so that was one thing. And second, the access was not there. Now anybody can access Vedanta online. And people get all kinds of impressions, mostly wrong about what it is. They don't fully understand what they're listening. They come to wrong conclusions, and those conclusions are colored by their mind. Whatever their mind is thinking, they grab to only that. So it's selective listening, right? There is no guru to help you figure it out correctly, to tell you the truth, to point out your own mistakes, to tell you, hey, this is wrong, fix it. This is your mind speaking, not the teaching, right? Things like that. So we go, first of all, we are not prepared. We don't know how to deal with stress. And second, in that state, we go to Vedanta. But we are very smart. Most of us are very smart because intellectually we have a lot of skills. Our education teaches us a lot of skills. So conceptually to understand Vedanta is not so difficult. In fact, it can be, for some people, it can be very alluring.
Mhm.
So Vedanta, I mean, the way I think about it is it becomes a bubble in your life, right? So it has no connection with your life. It's just another field of study, another reason to feel good. Oh, I know Vedanta.
Mhm.
But if you look at your behavior, on your day-to-day behavior, it is full of stress and full of anxiety. And when you start thinking Vedanta, you think, oh my God, oh, yeah, yeah, I get it.
Mhm.
So this is a recognized problem in Vedanta. It's Vedanta says this is because of lack of preparation. But I don't think they at that time realized the scale of this. This is rampant right now, the way I see it.
Mhm.
So the answer to this comes from meditation, from practice. You know, First of all, we have to recognize it, that this is indeed true in me. You look at your life objectively, look at your behavior objectively, and then say, okay, yeah, I see it in me. And then, okay, you recognize it's important to correct. So if it's important to correct, what can I do? And there, I would say, what I have been learning, which I wanted to share with you guys, is you cannot, this sort of chronic stress, which we experience because of constant change, constant, need for vigilance all the time, which has happened throughout our life, and now it's become part of our background, cannot be addressed by thinking through it. Impossible. You have to address it by somatic means. You have to address it by body work, like not reason it out, but actually live with the stress, learning how to live with the stress, recognizing the stress and learning how to live with it. So, I mean, this is a very, very, you guys probably know more about it than I do, but I just wanted to highlight this and say this is, if uh, the most important thing that we can do today, in my view, for our own development is addressing this. Because if our foundation is so weak, then building on it is just a house of cards, It is, castles in the sand. Anyway, that was my spiel for the day.
Nitu, but you mentioned about uh, dealing with stress
Right.
and how to handle that. Could you argue that you have to learn how to not let stress happen to you? Because that's the who am I understanding, right? If I
Correct.
understand myself and I
Absolutely.
don't have the delta between the outside and the me,
Yes.
I don't have the stress because I don't have the delta, right?
Yes. So I'll tell you how Vedanta thinks about it. What you're saying is absolutely correct. Once you've cleaned house, right, you can say, now this is the way I want to live. I want to understand and not let stress happen. But what we are trying to do is to understand all that, but our mind is already full of stress. We are not even recognizing the stress which is there. It's chronic stress. So you can't, you, Vedanta won't even penetrate through to you properly. It will only penetrate up to your head and not go inside anymore. You think you believe it, but you don't actually believe it. Your mind and body doesn't believe it because it is so full of stress. So, so that is the idea. I mean, this is all been thought through. This has all been written in Vedanta texts that you have to deal with your mind first.
Mhm.
Get it to a level of clean purity. Get it to a level of calm. Deal with what has been happening to you already. Deal with it first. That's why Karam Yoga is there. But I'm saying even Karam Yoga doesn't address it because Karam Yoga also assumes that you've gone through the yogas at least. I mean the Vedas at least. In other words, you have some, even to do Karam Yoga, you need some degree of uh, peace in the mind. And Karam Yoga doesn't address it because at that time this sort of stress was either not there or people who had this stress were not going to Vedanta. Like, I mean, the thing is, that's why I feel like understanding the purpose is very important because we can say, oh, my purpose is to understand reality. My purpose is to understand Brahman, to understand myself. But that's just a portion of you speaking. If you truly, truly listen to yourself and truly are open, you might say, my purpose right now is nothing of that sort. My purpose right now is to take care of my stress. But we are in denial, so we don't see that. That's what happens.
So can you sum it up? It's kind of little confusing. So you said meditation is karam yoga.
Is no, no,
Is a
it's
karma.
a sort of a yoga,
It's a
kind of
karma.
like Karam Yoga, parallel to Karam Yoga,
Yeah.
which
So how does it help us?
so meditation helps you because see what is your aim? Let's say the aim in the beginning, the aim of Karam Yoga
Mm-hmm.
is to get to a state where your mind is relatively calm,
Yeah.
which means you've dealt with some of the existing issues and complexes that you had in your mind so far. You've dealt
Mm-hmm.
with the big ones.
Yeah.
So your mind is relatively calm. So
Mm-hmm.
you're ready. The teaching will ready, meaning the teaching of Vedanta will actually penetrate, will start making a difference to your life. That is the purpose of Karma Yoga. That's the purpose of all yogas. It's
Okay.
called preparing your mind. Correct?
Okay. Yes. So
So
and
meditation is one way to do it. Karma Yoga is another way to do it.
so what do you do in meditation?
What you do in meditation, so what you do in so the idea is to look at your mind and make sure that it's objective, that it is, in other words, when you say clean, mind clean का मतलब क्या हुआ? Mind clean का मतलब ये नहीं हुआ कि कोई thoughts नहीं है. That is impossible. वो तो thoughts तो होंगी mind में. Mind clean का मतलब हुआ that you're objective. So there are vairagya and vivek.
Mm-hmm.
You can see things clearly
Mm-hmm.
and you are objective. In other words, let's say today if someone says something about my son, first thing will happen is my hackles will rise,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'll say, no, 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 what a wonderful guy. He's a great guy. He's everything. That will be my tendency. What would it mean if I was objective? Is to say, yeah, he's probably making a comment. Let me see whether that comment is correct or not. Truly be able to do that. That is objective. right? It doesn't mean I love my son any less. It means that my mind, I'm listening to what the other person is saying, the way it is intended to be said, without my mind taking it in a direction because of its own biases.
Mm-hmm.
Or if somebody, if like somebody says something about the Democrats, I'm a Democrat. I may, I mean, I'm not a Democrat, I'm an independent. But let's say I was a Democrat, then then I would probably look at it one way, right? It's this is what is happening around us, correct? That is it's kind of the effect of what's it called, echo chambers,
Mm-hmm.
correct? Where you listen to what you want to listen and what is pleasing to you. So that kind of a mind, which has so many biases, will, when it listens to Vedanta teachings, it will do the same thing. It will listen to what it wants to listen, and it will disregard the other things. And Vedanta teachings are very um, counterintuitive. They are trying to tell you stuff which is sometimes very painful to listen.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a ready mind. Karam Yoga makes your mind ready. Karam Yoga forces you to see what your attachments are, where your mind is going, because you're making an effort to see. You don't, on a day-to-day basis, you don't do that. But like every time when I told you Karam Yoga, you during the course of the day, at the end of the day, try to understand, where did I get angry? What happened? Where did I get agitated? Then you're forcing yourself to look within.
Mm-hmm.
So Karam Yoga is forcing you to look within. It's how do you know where to look? Indications of that you get through external behavior, through your work, interaction with others, and everything else. You get an opportunity, you get places to look within. It tells you where to look. The world is like a data input for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your interactions will tell you where you're feeling uncomfortable, and then Karam Yoga says, look within there and see what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meditation is a little more direct. Meditation says, let your thoughts come out. You're sitting in meditation quietly. There's no interaction with anybody else. But if you're quiet and no disturbance, thoughts which are deep inside you, they will start coming out. And you wouldn't even know where the thought came from. But it just came out. And some thoughts can be very strong and powerful. And you'll say, oh my God, like what's going on? So meditation does, first it allows those thoughts to come out because it gives you peace. That's what Vipassana is all about. It says no interaction with anybody, for 10 days. Because the moment some uncomfortable thoughts start coming out, we start thinking of something else. We'll say, oh, well, let me call a friend, or I'll watch a TV show, or I'll do something else. We don't let the thought even come out or emerge. But meditation allows that to happen. And then it forces you to say, don't make a judgment on the thought. It's come, let it come and go. Let it come and go. Right? That's a way to cleanse your mind in a different way. It will even bring out things which Karam Yoga may not even bring out. So in practice, they say that the ladder is that you start with Karam Yoga, then you go to meditation, then you go to Gyan. So the ladder is the chapters Gita 3, 4, 5, Karam Yoga, 6, meditation, and then you go to Gyan. 7 onwards is all Gyan, right? So that's the ladder. But you don't have to follow that ladder. We can't force ourselves not to do things. But that's what meditation does. But the purpose of meditation and Karam Yoga is the same. But what I was trying to say was that neither of them, Karam Yoga and meditation, will work if we have chronic anxiety. That's what I was trying to say.
How do
Chronic
we know we have
anxiety,
chronic anxiety? How do I know? How do I know that I have chronic anxiety?
that
Is
just
it-
that
Everybody has it, and you got to figure it out how to deal with it.
you don't know that that if you start even looking for it, let me say this. Assume I have chronic anxiety. Assume. And then say, then with that, now look and see. What is the behavior that is happening? For example, I know for a fact I have chronic anxiety. I didn't even know it. I know it now because some of the things I do are like OCD-like behaviors, which I used to laugh about, doesn't matter. But they are chronic anxiety. So this is just an example I'm giving you. I mean, in people around me, I can see very clearly. You can
Hmm.
talk to others and they will give you some feedback. That's another way to look at it. But what I'm saying is for that chronic anxiety to be taken care of first, I'm not a therapist, but my feeling is, my understanding so far is that you need somatic work. Karam yoga will not help you.
I don't understand what you mean by somatic work.
Somatic work means working on your body, bypassing your mind. So what does Karam yoga do? Karam yoga says, think about what you did. You have a goal. You said I'm going to be calm, but during the day I was not calm. So
Mm-hmm.
analyze, where were you not calm? Why were you not calm? What was the reason behind it? So you're trying to, the five whys that Tony Bhaiya was talking about. Those kinds of things. You kind of look at it and say, why I should have been. So that you're using your head, you're using your mind to resolve a problem. You're thinking that I can think my way through this issue. I can think my way through my anxiety, right? Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Correct? That's what we're doing in Karam Yoga. A somatic approach is, no, you can't think your way through anxiety. You don't need to figure out and trace and see why this anxiety is there. Like, why am I feeling anxious? Don't
Mm-hmm.
worry about it. You're feeling anxious, it's part of life. The thing is, you're feeling anxious. So you have to address a chronic anxiety whose cause even you don't know. So you address directly by bypassing your mind and working on your body. And what is body work? Things like breathing exercises. That's body work. What breathing exercises do is that breathing works on your vagus nerve, which drives your parasympathetic tone as opposed to sympathetic, right?
Mm-hmm.
That calms you down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Scanning your body. That's so there are lots and lots of somatic things that are available. I mean, I'm not saying what I think this is becoming more dense than I was expecting wanting to, but what I'm trying to say is that meditation is very important. Okay, that's the point I was trying to make. And I realize this myself now because a lot of the time I was told, when I was reading about Vedanta, I was told meditation is not important. Meditation you do if you want to do, don't do if you don't want to do. But that assumes that you do not have chronic stress. That's what I was trying to say. In today's life, that's a huge assumption to make.
Yeah. So through meditation, because you're able to deal with your thoughts, is how your mind. How do you de-stress yourself? It just
Yeah, yeah,
happens.
yeah. So I was saying, so through meditation, so I'm saying that meditation, there are types of meditation. I'm not talking about the meditation where you deal with your thoughts. That is advanced meditation.
Mm.
To say, I'm going to look at my thoughts, thoughts will come and thoughts will go. That's very advanced meditation. Because you'll tell yourself that I'm looking at my thoughts and letting them go, but really speaking, it's hard to do. I'm saying do a different kind of meditation, which is even more basic, which is breath work and body scanning work. That kind of meditation, which is um, just dumb dumb meditation. You're just mechanically doing certain things to uh, to get um, to get in a better frame of mind.
And to get any benefit, you pretty much have to do it every day, right?
Yeah, you have to do it as a practice. You
Practice.
have to do it as a practice.
Yeah.
But this is again, I am not a therapist. I'm not a guru. I'm not a doctor. I just wanted to highlight this as something I have found and something I found important. And you're all my brothers and sisters. So I wanted to just share that with you. So do, your own study and your own examination and see whether that works, because we are lost in we get lost in all these things that come to us. We should meditate, we should do that, but we forget that before we do all these things we have to have a certain level of readiness, and we are, often we are not ready. Often we don't think about it. We just, okay, किसने कह दिया ये भी कर लेते हैं, that kind of thing.
How do we know that we've got anxiety?
You ask people around you, ask your husband.
I mean,
Honestly, that's the best way.
everybody's got chronic anxiety. How do you recognize that there is anxiety of some level? I mean,
You look at,
day-to-day living
you just
anxiety.
you look at yourself and see whether things which should not make you anxious are making you anxious. Like your husband's gone out traveling, is it getting you anxious? I mean, I now trace back and see, my grandmother, Beji, right? We love her and we loved her and everything. But she was constantly anxious. वो घर से कोई बाहर निकल जाता था ना, she was anxious. जब तक वो घर नहीं वापस आएंगे, उनको, and we used to mistake it for love. She used to mistake it for love, right? But it's anxiety. It's this sort of understanding. There's no reason for us to feel anxious if, for example, somebody is outside, doing something else. I'm just giving a crazy example, but this is how when you look at yourself and see, then you will realize. And the first thing is to acknowledge it.
But can I just add also, it's very hard to like what Billu asked or what Tony Pia was saying. It is very hard to know even that you have it. It takes a long, like for me also, like you're saying, ask your husband. Mike is the one who told me. And I used to say, what are you talking about? I am not anxious. I don't have, it took me so many years
Yeah,
to realize that I have anxiety. It's not so easy to understand that,
yeah. And it's
So
not just
that you even
anxiety.
have it.
our mindset is that anxiety is bad, right? So we try to keep it away. But the reality
Right,
is that anxiety, understanding it is a lot good for yourself if you can deal with it.
right.
And the other thing is that even in my therapy, like a couple of things you said today kind of resonated because if I do get anxious, like if I were to say, oh, I don't understand why this is happening, what maybe my therapist would say is, don't worry about the why. So, or like, where do you feel it in your body? Figure out where you feel it in your body, and that's to sort of get
That's a
it
somatic
down to the
approach, right?
level of the
So
body.
a
Yeah,
therapist knows all this, right? So they are kind of
yeah, yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
working with you on
But
it.
it took me a very, very long time to understand that I have anxiety. Very long time.
So that's normal because because I think it's because we have been brought up in a family culture where the lines between anxiety and love get
Yeah,
blurred.
yeah,
You know, we
yeah.
we but you come to America, it's very different. There is something called independence in America, which doesn't exist in India as a value, and then you come stark head to head with it, and it makes forces you to think. But I mean that's the reason I said, I just I'm I don't know how much I don't know. I just want to share this thought just simply because I see it so much, and I see so much of cover up of anxiety through things like Vedanta. You know, it's a we don't face it. So anyway, maybe it's not relevant to all of you. So you can just put it in your pocket, and if it ever becomes relevant, you can pull it out again.
Oh, I'm sure it's
No,
relevant.
anxiety
It's
is
It's
everywhere
relevant to me.
recognize it.
in everyday
Yeah, I'm
living,
sure
I
it's
think.
relevant.
So that's the importance of meditation. Because I mean, I'm calling these somatic exercises, breathing exercises as meditation, just like you did. That kind of meditation.
Yeah.
Right?
You know,
But
the other thing I'd say,
the other
well,
meditation can come later. You know, the
mm,
meditations around observe your thoughts and all of that, I realize now can come later.
So tell us
You
about the basic meditation where we should start.
know. So one, I would say what you should start is a basic meditation, is and we can do it together if you want. Very
Mm,
simple, is breathing. Okay?
mm,
So you first of all you just relax your body, breathe a few times, relax. One way to relax is to wherever you're sitting, you try to understand like um where is my body in contact with? I'm resting. Where is my foot resting? Where are my bums resting if I'm on a chair? Where's my back resting? Like just get that situated. Breathe a couple of times, and then go through what's called, what I have learned is a breathing which is you inhale through your nose on a count of four. Then hold your breath for another count of slow count of four. Then you exhale through your mouth for a count of six.
four. Box breathing. All
No, okay.
fours.
You can do
no,
fours also. This is not box breathing. This is
yeah,
different. So
Mm.
single steps.
you can do box breathing. That's fine too. So
No,
you
no. Okay, what
exhale
you're saying is you inhale four, then keep four, then exhale through your
six,
mouth six.
six, and then
Uh,
breathe back again. There's no holding back after that. Just breathe right away for four.
mm.
So so let's say I will, if I take you through it, you want to do it with me. You'll say I'll count, and you say now when I start counting, I'll start with four, four, two, three, four. So I can't start with four. You breathe. So four, breathe in. Three, two, one, one, two, three, four, five, six, one, two, three, four. Breathe in. Like this. So you can get an app. An app will help you with this. Um, or you can do box breathing, but just this regular breathing. There are like I just recently bought this Aura, right? This ring, which I'm sure you guys also have. Uh, I noticed uh, your nighttime heart rate. If I do this breathing, my nighttime heart rate goes down. My HRV goes up a little bit. Things like that. It's not. It's very scientific. And another one which is very nice is body scanning, which is you just kind of sit back and imagine, put your attention from your head down one by one through your body, every part, every limb. Feel the sensation over there. Is it tired? Is it relaxed? And just keep moving on. Don't try to change it, just keep moving on. Go down to your toes, all the way to the tip of your large, large big toe. Feel that. And then go all the way back to your talu, over here. So do that 3, 4 times. But just this exercise, doing this for 15 minutes a day, right, is going to help. But
Does it matter when you do it, Nitu? Or doesn't matter, just in
I
a day?
don't think so. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't think so. They say that if you do it at the same time every day, it's better.
Mhm.
But
Our guy, the yoga guy says, do it anytime, but
hmm,
if you're having sleep issues, then do it before going to sleep.
Before you sleep.
yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely have sleep issues. I mean, I'm finding now I can't sleep more than 6 hours at night.
Mm.
I sleep nicely for the first 4 hours, then I wake up, and then the next two are very patchy.
Mhm.
Anxiety.
I have anxiety, exactly. Biphasic sleep.
What
So one
happens?
other thing, Nitu, what I have seen amongst my friends who have done meditation,
Right.
um, they do it and do it for a long time, and they are being pretty highly educated in this process. But then they drop it. They go on to something else. Is it
Yeah.
because it is so hard to get the benefits? Continue to, I mean, they do it for years and then they drop it and go away to
I
something else.
I think from my experience, because I have not dropped Vedanta, right? I think that it has to be part. of a larger program.
Mm,
Why are you doing it?
mm.
Like you're doing it just because everybody's doing it, or because you feel it gives you temporary relief. What's driving you? So if you have a goal, if you have a purpose, and say my purpose is not just meditation is a tool.
Yeah.
My purpose is to become like this, or whatever it is. Moksha could be a very high purpose, but say I want to be a, I want to learn about Gita. I want to implement it as much as possible. I want to kind of change myself, have more peace in my life. Then you're not counting on meditation to bring you peace. Then you're counting on meditation only to take you one particular step, right? Which is to be comfortable with your thoughts. And then it's easier to, in my opinion, to hang
Yeah.
on to it. Then the purpose is very clear. But a lot of people, they do it, but their purpose is still to make the next million, let's say, which is fine then, as long as their purpose is being met. They feel that they have to deal with the stress so that they can work on making the first next million or whatever, next 10 million. Then maybe the meditation has served its purpose.
Yeah.
That's fine,
Yeah.
totally fine.
Bill Gross was a very big fan of meditation.
Who?
Bill Gross, the
Oh yeah,
PIMCO founder.
yeah, yeah. But they all do it for different reasons,
Yeah, right.
and they probably then do different things depending
Yeah.
on what their reason is.
These are things take time. You have to allocate time. You have to do it in order to improve yourself and to be a better human being, I guess. Whatever.
Well, and the way I find it is the seed germinates.
Yeah.
So we'll think about it. It'll it'll be there, and in the beginning it's hard to devote time. Then
Mhm.
one day the the conditions will be right, and then you will start doing them. At least that's what happens to me.
Hmm.
Yeah. Eka buddhi is important. Once you have that, then,
Yeah, big on Eka Buddhi, Tony Bhaiya.
yeah.
Hmm.
What else? So okay, now we can go on lighter stuff.
So one thing what you said, there are three stages of meditation. One is the initial stage.
Right.
Then, of course, the top stage where you're considering yourself as an Atma and just
Yeah.
what is the intermediary stage? What you said?
Intermediate is more like upasanas, like Ishwar Upasana, where you imagine, you
Acha, acha, हाँ.
mentally, it's like thought exercises,
Right.
mental exercises, where you imagine things with guidance. You imagine that Ishwar is
Right.
this universe is Ishwar, for example. Or imagine that there's a Shaligram stone, and this Shaligram stone is Vishnu, right? That is also an upasana. When you take an idol
Right.
and say this idol is Bhagwan, and you, in your mind, you bring all the powers and all the benevolence and everything of Bhagwan into that stone, into that idol. That's an imagination. That's an upasana. That's why it's called upasana. Upasana means like this kind of meditation. And it's superimposition. It's your by using your will, you're superimposing a concept of Ishwar onto an idol and saying, this is Ishwar now, I will worship this idol. And when you're worshipping that idol, you're not worshipping the stone. You're worshipping the Ishwar.
Yes.
Yes, the thing that you have put into the Ishwar. It's all in your mind, you know.
Yeah.
Another person will just look at it as an Ishwar, but you look at it as, I mean, as a stone, you look at it as Ishwar. So that's also a kind of that's also meditation. So जो हमारे बेजी बहन वगैरह पूजा करते थे, या मासी वगैरह पूजा करते थे, that was they were doing meditation. They were, if they're doing it right, because they were imagining God in that idol, and then they were uh, saying prayers to God, having a conversation with that. That requires a lot of focus if you do it properly. That requires the ability to put God there, hold it there, and then in a focused way, without disturbance, have a conversation or talk to that person, and shut everything else out during that time. That's all. So that's a mental capability. एक लाइन है in Upanishad, it's called the Kane Upanishad.
Yeah.
उसमें एक लाइन है, it says आत्मना विन्दते वीर्यम विद्यया विन्दते amritam. It says that through effort first, through this sort of effort, you gain. Vindate means gain. You gain capability. Viryam means capability, right? So first you gain capability through this kind of effort. And then it says, Vidyaya vindate amritam. Through vidya, through knowledge, then you gain immortality. Immortality is what they say. Now, if you know your Atma, then you say, okay, I'm immortal.
Mm.
So this is all part of gaining the capability with these kinds of efforts.
So what does this ring do that you have? What is this does?
This is another
Why?
It's like
shoe
an
shark.
Apple Watch kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Oh,
it tracks sleep and
okay,
all that.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
it's
put it on and
understand.
it tracks everything.
Hmm.
It's got a
Your
very
heart
nice,
rate.
it's got a very elaborate app. If you guys have
Yeah.
ever tried it, it's like, I mean, I haven't seen an app like that. So much data. Like crazy.
Mhm.
Have you tried it, Tony Bhaiya? The Aura
No,
Ring?
Mita is just trying out the size just now. Mita,
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
Rashi
okay,
Rashi has
okay.
it.
yeah.
Amita probably has
Rashi
number
wears it.
4, size 4.
No. I'm a very big size.
You are? I'm
Yeah.
11 for this
It,
finger.
I was trying, yeah, my size is pretty, but I was trying 9 or 10.
Hmm.
Pretty big.
But which finger are you putting it on?
I think the 10 fits on every finger. So I was thinking I'll go
Okay,
with
okay.
10. So I can put
They
it
say
on
that the index finger is the best,
this.
but
Yeah. So yeah. So the right index finger, I think I may need 10. The left index finger, I think I need 9. So I think I'll get a 10. But
and are
no,
you getting the
Lashiani and our big
titanium
fan.
one or Gen 4?
I don't know. It's Rashi sent me the thing and she's giving it to me as a gift. So I
Oh,
don't know
nice.
which one is
Then
she
get the most
getting.
expensive.
No, I don't think the most, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's fun. It integrates with Apple Watch and it also integrates with Dexcam. So I mean, if you're going to go for that Dexcam, right? The
GM,
CGM, yeah,
continuous glucose.
yeah,
glucose,
yeah,
continuous glucose monitoring.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we need to try to do that again. We
yeah,
haven't done it for a while.
And then you will be like, what Star Wars with Hana?
yeah.
Like, everything.
Yeah.
What was it? D2, B2, V2?
Yeah.
What was it?
R2D2.
R2D2 or whatever. Yeah.
Bilu, how was the wedding?
Yes. Wedding was lots of fun.
I can
Oh,
shut the
whose
record.
wedding? Whose wedding did you go to?